Hey everybody, in this video we are going to review exponent rules. For our first problem here, we're multiplying 3 times 4, and that's 12. And then j to the 4th times j to the 5th. When we are multiplying these variables, we are going to add the exponents. 4 plus 5 is 9, so it is j to the 9th. 12j to the 9th power. Then here we have 4 times 9. 4 times 9 is 36. And we add the exponents. 4 plus negative 5 is negative 1. But we have another rule of exponents, and that's about these negative powers here. So m to the negative 1 power, we can't leave that as a negative 1 power. So what we're going to do is take that negative 1 power, we're going to move that m to the denominator, and it's going to become a positive 1 power. So it'll be 36 over m to the first power. Here we are raising this to the power of 3, so we're going to do 2 to the 3rd power. That's 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8. Y to the 3rd power, so it's really y to the 1st to the 3rd power, and we multiply that exponent. 1 times 3 is 3, so that's y to the 3rd. And then 4 to the 3rd power, that is 4 times 4 times 4, that's 64. Anytime we can simplify further, we will. 8 over 64 simplifies. 8 goes into 64 8 times, so 8 over 64 is the same as 1/8, so this simplifies to y to the 3rd over 8. Then we have 5x over 3 to the negative 2 power. When we have a fraction in parentheses raised to a negative power, if we flip that fraction, 3 over 5x, it now becomes the positive 2 power. And now we'll raise everything in the parentheses to the 2nd power. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. And then x to the 1st power squared is x squared. Here we are going to multiply these, but first we've got to take care of that exponent. By order of operations, that has to happen first. So x cubed will stay as it is. Then we are going to multiply these exponents. When we're raising a power to another power, we multiply the exponents. So that is x to the 4 times 1/5 or 4/5 power. So now we can multiply these by adding the exponents. That's x to the 3 4/5 power, 3 plus 4/5. Now we're not going to leave it like that. We'll leave that as an improper fraction. So that's 3 times 5, that's 15, plus 4 is 19, so that's x to the 19/5 power. Here we have x squared times x to the 8th to the negative 2. We're going to have to take care of that first. So there's a couple different ways we can go about it. We could do x to the 8th to the negative 2, so that would be x to the negative 16. Then we could add the powers. So if we do it that way, we've got x squared times x to the negative 16, 8 times negative 2. Then we add the powers, and we've got x to the negative 14. And because that's negative, we'll have to move this to the denominator, so that would become 1 over x to the 14th power. Another way we could do it is x squared times, and then I could change this to 1 over x to the 8th. And now, because I flipped this, the power becomes positive. So now I have x squared times 1 squared is 1, and x to the 8th squared, 8 times 2 is 16, x to the 16th. So that's the same then if I multiply these as x squared over x to the 16th, and now the 16 is bigger than the 2, so I'm going to subtract into the denominator. 16 minus 2 is 14. So there's two different ways to look at that one. Then here I am going to flip this fraction to get rid of that negative power. So that's m to the 4th n cubed over, and I didn't flip it, so the flip that this time. M squared, so that's M squared over n to the negative 4 over m to the 4th n cubed. So now I have flipped it, and that power becomes positive. So now I can multiply all my exponents. So that's m to the 2 times 5 is 10, n to the negative 4 times 5 is negative 20, m to the 4 times 5, so that's m to the 20th, and n to the 3rd times 5 is n to the 15th. Now I'm going to subtract into the bigger power, so the 20 is bigger than 10, so I'll subtract downward. 20 minus 10 is 10, so in the denominator I have m to the 10th. And 15 is bigger than negative 20, so I'll subtract this one downward also. That's 15 minus negative 20, or 15 plus 20. And that is 35, so I have n to the 35th power. There's nothing left in the numerator, so that's a 1. And on this last one here, we'll multiply all the powers by 4, so that's a to the negative 12, b to the 20, and a to the 16th, and b to the 12th. 16 is bigger than negative 12, so I'll subtract downward. 16 minus negative 12 is 28, so in the denominator we have a to the 28th. 20 is bigger than 12, so I'll subtract this one upward. 20 minus 12 is 8, so we have b to the 8th in the numerator.